Hello, back in the truck, and actually outside the LCC cafeteria. If uh, if you need some Wi-Fi, you can get LCC's Wi-Fi from the parking lot. You got to use your username and sign in like anything else. So I wanted to do a little bit of do's and don'ts for MLA. Working through this document, the Writing 121 using sources. Um, I want to tell you the things that a professor uh, does when they're looking at an essay to very quickly make judgments about it. What we're really judging is, are you a high school student or are you a college student? So what things make you look like a high school student? And the first do and don't is make sure that you paraphrase. It's much more effective to paraphrase than it is to quote. You should quote extremely rarely. In a different video, I talked about that and why that's the case, but that's kind of my first big do and don't. Another thing is to make sure that you do not begin or end body paragraphs with an outside source. This is because a body paragraph should be driven by your idea. So you want to lead with your own thoughts and then use the outside source to supplement what you think and what you are working on. So make sure you don't begin or end body paragraphs with an outside source. Make sure that the source material that you're including is connected to your topic sentence. I often see students will drop some research into a paragraph and it's not really connected. You got to make that connection. As you're adding resources to essay two will change. It's not like you'll just be able to drop it in and none of the sentences will change. You'll have to think about that. And then make sure you always signal in. Okay, you have to signal in. You have to say to the reader, according to this article, or according to this publication, an article in this publication, according to this author, if the author is somebody that's well known. You got to make sure that you do that. I also want to talk about, you should never use the word says. You don't want to say, Rick Cook says, or Rick Cook, or the Wall Street Journal says. Says is an awful word. It's like things. It's like people. It's incredibly vague. It's tasteless. It has no texture or anything interesting about it. It's considered lazy to use it, actually. So I have a whole bunch of other words you can use than says. Emphasizes, states, argues, reveals, comments. These are all terrific words to use rather than says. Another thing is always make sure that you analyze the information that you are sharing. You got to do something with it. You got to discuss why it's significant. You got to connect it to the point that you're trying to make, whatever the case may be. You got to make sure that that happens. So to review these do's and don'ts, make sure you paraphrase rather than quote. Make sure to discuss the information to connect it to your point. Make sure the map works. Make sure I can go from your internal citation to the first part of your works cited entry to wherever the information exists in the world. Don't start body paragraphs with outside information. Don't end body paragraphs with outside information, because then you're letting it speak for itself instead of you discussing it. Always signal in, signal out, and have a works cited entry, and avoid writing the word says. That is really critical. So just a little video on do's and don'ts. I need some feedback from you guys. I need more questions. I need to know what you're struggling with or not struggling with. And I'm also trying to set up a virtual meet where I'll be online at a certain time and people can get online. We can all see each other and support each other and also work on our writing some. So take care and hang in there.